First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Welcome to WUFT News First at 5. I'm Liz Biro.
And I'm Gabriella Mercurio. Thanks for joining us. President Biden is in Europe for landmark summits today with NATO, G7, and European Council leaders. The West will announce new sanctions as Russia's war against Ukraine is 1 month old. Bree Jackson has the latest from Washington.
President Biden in Brussels for a high-stakes emergency summit. The main issue at hand, Russia's brutal attacks on Ukraine. The president and NATO leaders acknowledging a frustrated Vladimir Putin could soon turn to chemical weapons.
How expectation on a chemical weapons attack?
The U.S. announced more sanctions today, putting more economic pressure on 400 Russians and Russian entities, along with 40 defense companies. Members are pledging to double their military presence near Ukraine.
Today, we agreed to do more, including cyber security assistance and equipment to help Ukraine protect against biological, chemical, radiological, and nuclear threats.
NATO's chief says the idea of admitting Ukraine to the security alliance is not on the table. Ukraine's president addressed the summit in a video message, putting more pressure on leaders, saying Russia had a month of impunity, destroying a peaceful country. The meetings in Europe come on the heels of the U.S. officially accusing Russia of committing war crimes in Ukraine.
Russia's forces have destroyed apartment buildings, schools, hospitals, other elements of the critical civilian infrastructure.
The death toll climbing on both sides.
The more we can do to help the Ukrainians, I think the faster that this thing can be over.
President Biden meets with the European Council to continue discussions on supporting Ukraine. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Officials are advising people to stay alert for possible cyber attacks from Russia. Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody released an alert this week warning a cyber attack could affect the state. As tensions rise, Russia is exploring the possibility of an attack on U.S. technology. Cyber attacks target personal information and valuable data, such as finances. They can keep people from accessing their devices, leading to a loss of money. Florida Institute of Cybersecurity Associate Director Kevin Butler says the threat of a cyber attack is real.
Certainly not out of the realm of possibility that we could see cyber attacks happening. Again, there's a constant drumbeat of cyber attacks currently happening already from all over the world and various actors.
To protect yourself, Butler says to make sure your operating systems are up to date. You can also keep yourself safe by verifying email addresses before responding. Gabriella, today was not a good day to forget my umbrella.
No, it wasn't, but I'm not sure how much longer we'll need that rain gear. WUFT's Justin Ballard joins us now with his first look at weather.
Yeah, you'll want to keep the rain gear with you through at least this evening. Once we get into tomorrow, I think we'll see some drier skies for us here in North Florida. Now, right now, we've got pretty dry conditions. Of course, we've got the cloud cover. That cloud cover will be sticking around as we go through really most of the overnight hours. I don't think we're done with rain chances just yet. I know radar looks fairly quiet. That will likely fill in as we go through the rest of the evening. So yes, we'll hold on to at least some shower and thunderstorm chances. Now, the rain and few rumbles of thunder will be also on the mild side. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s through about 10 p.m. Showers will taper though once we get beyond midnight, and fog will be possible for early Friday. I want to show you future radar though, because we've got the chance for some showers kind of sticking around through the afternoon and through the evening. I'll have the kind of complete timeline of that coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
A local government organization is joining the fight against opioid abuse. The Children's Trust of Alachua County announced its partnership with Newberry's Opioid Task Force last week. The task force is dedicated to the prevention of opioid abuse in Alachua County. The Children's Trust will be the center of the county-wide initiative. Task Force Chair Joy Glanzer says the partnership is essential for raising awareness.
Just by their notoriety alone and their networking, they can help us truly get our word out. But mainly the thing is that they can help us bring all of our communities together.
The task force has previously partnered with the cities of Alachua, Archer, High Springs, and Micanopy. A Florida driver is dead after hitting an 11-foot alligator on the edge of a roadway. The accident happened after midnight along County Road 672 in Lithia, which is in Hillsborough County, east of Tampa. The crash caused the car to flip into a ditch, and 59-year-old John Hopkins was pronounced dead at the scene. The collision also killed the alligator. A local author recently self-published a children's book called Lost Land. The story follows a young girl as she takes a journey to Lost Land to find her missing doll and bring her home.
WUFT's Amy Galo spoke with the author about her motivations to write this story and the importance of reading for young children.
That's right, Elizabeth. It was so nice to speak with Denisha Huntley about her new book, especially her motivations for writing it. I also spoke to a children's literacy expert about the importance of telling relatable stories like these.
At just 23 years old, Gainesville resident Denisha Huntley self-published her children's book titled Lost Land.
I actually have worked in childcare for the past 3 years.
The story follows a young girl on her quest to find her missing doll, a tale inspired by the many children in Huntley's life.
I've seen that every kid has a favorite toy, and every child goes through losing a toy, and I just wanted to write something that kids could really relate to.
Huntley currently works as a nanny, and before that, she worked at an elementary school and a daycare. She also has many nieces and nephews.
My niece actually, she sat on my lap and I read the entire story to her, and she likes to point and look at the different characters.
Huntley said her story is supposed to be engaging and relatable, something which is important to get students to read more at a young age.
For kids to see themselves represented on the pages of the books that they're reading is really important. And that might be through those aspects of it, their racial or cultural identity, or it might just be through the experiences that they share with the character. So, maybe the character doesn't look anything like them, but they had that happen and I had that happen.
Lane also says it's important to depict reading as a pleasurable experience for kids as early as possible. And if they don't like to read, it's usually because they're struggling. The solution, reading aloud to kids exposes them to new words.
When they hear those words being used, they become part of their listening vocabulary, which then later on, when they encounter them, when they're reading themselves, they'll know what they mean.
Huntley hopes her book has a positive effect on children's motivation to read.
It's really fun, and it really just helps them with their imaginations.
Lost Land is currently available on Amazon for purchase. Back to you.
That story really reminded me of my childhood. I used to love reading fairy tales as a kid.
Me too, but speaking of fairy tales, a lot of Disney employees feel like they're not living one anymore. Some employees are concerned over Disney's initially slow response to Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay bill. Coming up on WUFT News, first at 5, we'll show you the protest some Disney employees led this week against the controversial legislation in Florida. Stick around.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. Now bringing you the latest political headlines from Florida and beyond. This is PolitiTalk. Let's get into it. In Washington, it was day 3 of the confirmation hearing for Ketanji Brown Jackson's nomination to the Supreme Court. Judge Jackson did not testify today. Instead, the committee heard from the American Bar Association and others. The committee will likely refer the nomination to the full Senate on Monday or the following Monday. When she was confirmed to the D.C. Court of Appeals, only 3 Republicans joined Democrats in approval, and one of them is hinting he's now a no. Florida's parental rights and education bill, which critics call Don't Say Gay, is continuing to stir controversy at Disney. Workers who oppose the legislation staged walkouts on Tuesday, following the company's initially slow response to denounce the bill. On Tuesday, some LGBTQ Disney workers and their supporters walked away from their work sites in California, Florida, and other locations. The Florida bill would ban classroom lessons about gender identity and sexual orientation in K-3 and require age-appropriate content in higher grades. Disney is the largest private sector employer in the state. The company did eventually speak out in solidarity with LGBTQ+ communities, but protesters say the company could have done more to try to prevent the legislation from passing. On Tuesday, Governor Ron DeSantis confirmed he plans to sign the bill. He said Disney executives have been misled into buying into slogans and false narratives. He argued the protesters were in favor of, quote, injecting sex instruction to kids. Governor DeSantis also announced he'll let the next state budget provide another financial boost for teachers. The Florida House and Senate recently approved a $112 billion budget that has some funds earmarked for educators. On Monday, the governor said he's approving the budget line item. The minimum annual salary for teachers should rise to at least $47,500. And that's your PolitiTalk.
Gainesville City Commissioners are seeking more advice about the legislators' plan for new House and Senate districts. Alachua County has been split 2 state Senate districts and 2 state House districts. The dividing lines between Main Street and 13th Street. The city hired 2 University of Florida redistricting experts to come up with city options, and they presented 3. But commissioners have yet to agree on how much things should change. The city commissioners will meet with the supervisor of elections on Monday and hope to have a new map ready by the 17th of April. Florida is slapping a $9 million fine on its largest Medicaid payment vendor for software problems that delayed payments for nearly 3 months. This affected tens of thousands of healthcare claims for the state's sickest and neediest children. Florida's 2 largest Medicaid payment vendors, Sunshine State and WellCare, merged in October. Sunshine State says that led to software glitches which delayed payments. Some providers throughout the state were forced to close their doors, leaving families without help for months. A company in Orlando says it was asked to stay quiet before Sunshine State would agree to pay part of the money it owed. Find the full story at WUFT.org.
The rain has been with us for much of the day, but will it last much longer? Find out when sunshine returns in my full forecast coming up after the break.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
We've had some showers. We've even had some thunderstorms rolling through north central Florida over the last couple of hours, really for most of the day. But we're finally starting to get into some dry time, at least briefly. I'm not so certain that that's going to last too terribly long, though. Storm tracker looking fairly quiet right now. Gainesville, UF to Butler Plaza. If you're out and about, it is certainly cloudy, and it will remain that way as we go through the rest of the evening and into the overnight hours. Temperatures right now, rain cooled into the low 60s. Keep in mind, we've seen over an inch of rain over the last 24 hours, and radar estimates generally between a ½ inch to 1.5 inches, 2 inches in some spots, slightly less towards Ocala and the villages, but of course heavier rain into northeast Alachua County. Now the rain is not done yet. I think we've got a few hours left of shower activity. You see here by 9 p.m. Another round of heavier rain shower activity moving through. And again, you might hear a rumble or 2 of thunder. I'm not expecting any severe weather, so that's some good news. And notice here by 1 a.m. the backside of this rain is moving on through. The backside of the cloud cover will move through about sunrise tomorrow, and we'll see plenty of sunshine for your Friday, as I like to call it. A few filtered clouds moving in as we get into the lunch hour and beyond. Other than that, dry conditions sticking around. Again, we've got to get through the next couple of hours here, really through about 2 a.m. That's when those rain chances will be highest. Temperatures will be on the mild side, but as we go into tomorrow morning, we may see some patchy fog, especially after midnight. So keep in mind your Friday morning commute could be a little bit on the dicey side as we kind of roll on future fog here. We've got the potential for visibility at times to be under 1/4 mile. So let's take a look at your day forecast for tomorrow. Patchy fog possible tomorrow morning. Again, some of that could be dense. A few passing clouds for the lunch hour. Generally sunny with temperatures in the mid-70s by the afternoon. So high pressure builds into place for not only Friday, also Saturday, but watch this cold front sliding on through here as we get into early Sunday. It's going to come through with dry conditions. High pressure stays in place as we go through the end of the weekend and into early next week. But watch what that dry cold front does to our low temperatures. By Sunday morning, we could be looking at temperatures in a couple of spots into the upper 30s. We warm up nicely, though, into the low and mid 80s by the middle of next week. Back to you.
Hey Liz, we're getting closer and closer to Florida football's orange and blue game, and I'm so excited to be back in the swamp.
Me too. I cannot wait to get back to football season. And as the team is rebuilding their offensive line, I'm curious how it will work out now that they've hired 2 O-line coaches. Stay tuned after the break to find out more about the new coaching hires coming up in sports.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Jennica Clerveaux. Spring practice continues today for the Florida Gators football team. After a tumultuous finish to the 2021 football season, the Gators are rebuilding. One of the top priorities of the Gators has been improving the offensive line. Florida hired Rob Sell and Darnell Stapleton to lead the effort. Senior offensive lineman Richard Garage talked about the advantage of having two offensive line coaches.
Having two coaches is very helpful for the inside guys. If one day the guards need help, one coach could take the guards, and the next day the coach can take the tackles and stuff like that. So it's very flexible. So everybody's getting an amount of work and stuff like that in those short minutes of times.
After today's practice, Florida's next spring practice will take place on Saturday. Florida baseball will be back in action tomorrow. The Gators will play their second SEC series of the year, this time against LSU. Florida is coming into the matchup fresh off of a win against Bethune-Cookman. In the 3-2 win over the Wildcats, Judd Fabian slammed 2 home runs, bringing his season total to 10. This also brought Fabian's career total to 42 homers, moving him to 6th all-time in program history. He talked about the career milestone and said his focus is on the team's success.
Not really focused on any number of homers. Just kind of doing anything I can to help this team win and get better every day, and today was a good day for that.
The first pitch against the Tigers is set for 7 tomorrow night. Florida softball will also be back in action tomorrow. After their last home game against Stetson was postponed, the Gators will be in Gainesville as they host Tennessee. Game time is slated for 6. Right now, Florida is ranked 6th in the nation. Tennessee is 14th.
Before we go, one last check on the weather.
Well, we've got the chance for a couple of showers through the next 6 to 8 hours. Those showers, though, will wrap up, especially after midnight. Sunny through the weekend. That's got a smile on my face. Dry cold front comes through, though, Saturday night, dropping temperatures into possibly the upper 30s and low 40s by early Sunday, but we warm up nicely by the middle of next week. We're back into the low and mid 80s. Rain chances hold off until at least Thursday, Friday. In the meantime, we've got plenty of time to watch that activity. Back to you.
Thanks, Justin. BBC World News is next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
But your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.